All right, we're here. I'm here, but you're not here. All right. Hey, how you guys doing? If there's any guys out there, gonna get some sounds real quick. Hope you can hear me. All right, how you guys doing? We're back at Orange Hangs live on YouTube and Facebook. I'm Ken Rose. I play guitar in rock band Hero Jr. And I'm a songwriter, producer, and work with a lot of different artists doing a lot of different musical stuff. So, welcome to Orange Hangs. Hope you guys are all good. It's Monday, 4 o'clock Eastern, which is the time we always do this. And I'll answer your questions about songwriting, being in a band, being on tour. Um, I've been working as a songwriter my whole life, and about 8 years ago, I put that on hold because I joined my band Hero Jr., which was the best choice that I ever made, totally following my heart and doing something that I truly, truly love. I mean, I love writing songs and I love working in the studio, but there's nothing that beats being on the road with three of your mates and touring and playing rock and roll music every night. So that's my story in a nutshell. If you want to check out the band, you can do so at www.herojrmusic.com. You can check us out as well on Instagram at HeroJR, Hero Jr. And you can check out my Instagram where I take a lot of questions for the week in advance for this show at My Warped Halo, MyWarpedHalo. So I'll answer a couple questions. We can talk about gear, bands, anything you want. I'll play a little bit. Today, I haven't played my dual terror for a while, and I'm in Chicago, so this is my little travel rig. I've got a PPC 112 bottom, just stock, and a dual terror head. This is a great head. I use it a lot in the studio. My main rig live is an OR50 and a PPC 212. That's my all-time favorite. I use a Rocker Verb 50 quite often. That's my second live amp and my main studio amp. But I use this one a lot, and I'm just on right now. I'm on the fat channel, and volume's at 10 o'clock. Tone is straight up. Gain is about 1 o'clock. If it's too loud or it sounds shitty, I'm checking out the comments, so let me know if it's distorting or something. It's always different on the internet, so I'm doing my best. Anyway, and I'm playing Gibson Custom Shop Les Paul. It's a 1960s reissue, and I've got Pariah T-type pickups in it, which, for those of you that don't know Pariah pickups, Sean really winds some wicked pickups. These are great pickups. They're modeled a little bit after, hey man, how you doing, Jeremy? These are modeled after the T-top pickups that are in my 1972 Les Paul Standard, which is my main touring guitar. So anyway, I haven't played the Terror for a while. So we're on the fat channel. Hopefully it sounds all right, not too loud or shitty over the internet. What model would I recommend for progressive metal like Tool or Polyphony? I don't play metal. I love metal. I love Tool. The new Tool record's great. All the records are great. I would probably suggest. I think that a lot of people are using the oh shit, what is it? The fuck, you got me. The orange. It's the I think it's CR120. I think that for for doing progressive metal, I think when you're using tubes, it's a little bit too warm sometimes, unless you're using like a dual rectifier head. But I would suggest, I think it's the CR120. A lot of people, I think that's the one that a lot of people are telling me about. I'm really sorry. I don't even do a lot of metal in the studio. I'm mostly doing blues rock, 70s stuff, and then all kinds of studio stuff on sessions. And I grew up totally loving and listening to metal, and for some reason, I headed on the blues direction. But I will write that down, and I will definitely check for next week with all my orange playing friends what the ideal metal amp. But I mean, man, Orange makes some killer metal amps. There's a lot of really killer metal bands using Orange gear. Sorry about that, man. I will definitely get back to you with that one, and I should know it, but I don't. Some other question. Oh, my favorite question. This is the best question that I got on Instagram last week. What don't you like about guitar playing? I just laughed at that, and I couldn't think of anything. And then I thought, yeah, what don't I like about guitar playing? Playing with long nails on my left hand. That is really fucked up. And there's nothing worse than getting to a show and not realizing you haven't clipped your nails and having to play with some decent nails. That sucks balls on your left hand. So there is something that I don't like about playing guitar. I think that's probably one of the only things that I don't like about playing guitar. But yeah, having long nails on my left hand, this drives me crazy. Oh, hey Keith, how you doing? Yeah, we haven't been to St. Louis for a while, and I don't know when we're going to get back there. But I do think that some way or the other, we are going to be doing a really cool live stream show around October to coincide with our new album release, and I'll keep everybody posted about that. But yeah, for softer stuff, oh, I mean, hey, for the money, this is a killer amp, the Dual Terror, and I mean, what's really great about this amp. Okay, I'm on the clean channel now. This amp takes effects really, really well and reacts super cool to guitar volume. So here's my clean sound. Um, it's still got warmth. It's got good tone control. I don't know if you can hear because I'm using my computer microphone now, but I usually have the tone a little bit lower on the clean channel. And here's for softer stuff. It takes effects really, really well. So that's just straight clean channel. I've got my I just got my little mini pedal board that I travel around with. It's nothing special, but I'm using a Line 6, which I never use except for some studio stuff when I'm doing sessions for people, because this is a really good go-to. It's the green Line 6. I don't even know what it's called, but it's really good for doing some stuff. And on this one, I was using a a bender from JHS. It's a really good copy of a tone bender. I've been using this one a lot, as well as their Crimson and the other fuzz that I've got on this board right here is the Fur Coat, which I really like from Orange. This is a really nasty fuzz, where the bender sounds more like a vintage fuzz. The Fur Coat is a lot grungier, a little more Sabbath. That's great fuzz. Hey Brian, you're cool. I think if I was gonna recommend my favorite all around Orange, I would say Rocker Verb 50 if budget is not your problem, because that's an amp that I've used for the last, I don't know, about 3 years on a ton of different sessions, and that is definitely my main session amp. And that amp together with 412, with the PPC 412, that's a great combination. And when I'm traveling and doing sessions for people, or when I'm doing them at home in the studio, the 112 is a great cab. I mean, it just depends what you're using it for and how much space you need to fill on a stage. But I would really, my first all around Orange Pink pick is definitely the Rocker Verb. It's really cool, and I'm waiting to change some tubes in it, which friend of mine, Anthony Turco, if you don't know him, check out his, I think he's on Facebook at Amp Turco. He's got some great suggestions for what you can do with the Rocker Verb, and I am about ready to try some of those and see what happens. So check that out. But yeah, Rocker. If I was playing in a dynamic metal band, and I was going to pick an Orange that I know personally, I would go with the Rocker Verb 50 or 100 and a 412 cabinet. You totally can't go wrong with that. And if budget restraints kind of keep you away from that, I mean, this is really good. Here, I'll put it. So this is the dual terror. I've got it on the Fat channel. For those of you guys that are just tuning in, I'm Ken Rose. I play guitar with Hero Jr. I'm a songwriter, music producer, and I've been using Orange for about 8 years now. It's the only amps that I'm really using in the studio and definitely live. Anyway, this is the Fat channel. I've got the gain about halfway up. The volume's on 2, tone is straight up, and this is already rocking, and it's not fully overdriven yet. Now, this one, I don't know, I hope this isn't too loud, but I got the gain cranked all the way up now. I mean, I love this amp, man. It's a good one. So if you can't afford Rock Verb 3, I would go with this one. Other questions Okay, I got a couple really interesting questions this week on Instagram, and you guys, when this is done, if you've got any questions or you have anything you want answered, I did get some really cool questions about chords, and this is one of the better questions I got. I wrote everything down here. Okay, so what are your favorite chord progressions, and how do you determine how to voice them? That was from Sam H. Okay, so there's two different. I got two different ways of approaching this. There's approaching this as a studio guitar player that's a producer when I'm layering a lot of the guitars for different artists, or being in a two guitar band. So let's start with being in a two guitar band, chord voicing choices. So there's actually in the band there's only two things that I'm kind of looking out for. And excuse me, for those of you that don't know me, I'm not really that technical. I studied a little when I was younger, but I'm really into feeling oriented music, and my big influences are old blues dudes, Jimi Hendrix, Jimmy Page as well, all the pre '60s blues guys, pre '70s blues guys, um, funk, soul, and these are really feel based music, and all the music that I really liked and gravitated to when I was growing up happened to be, I always wished that I was around in the 60s and 70s making music, because it just seems like it was such a cool time to make music. And although I know a little bit about theory, I know absolutely nothing about, like serious composition theory, amplifier technology, any of that stuff. For me, it's like plug in, play, and if it feels good, it's good for me. So when I'm with Evan and the band, and we're rehearsing and working on new arrangements, there's the two things that seem to happen with me naturally are that I'm aware of where the vocal is. That I think in any kind of guitar playing, for me, and everything I say is just from my experience and my taste. So everyone's got a different way of doing things, and yeah, there's no right. We're making art here, and we're making music, so nobody's right and nobody's wrong. You just got to go with your heart and hope that people like what you're doing. So the first thing I pay attention to is, am I playing something that supports the vocal? We have no background vocals in our band. It's really like we never wanted to do that. We thought it sounded a little too slick, and the songs hold themselves together quite well with just Evan singing it. So we've just never put background vocals on our records. And I'm always aware, is my guitar supporting the vocal? I think part of the reason that it works not having background vocals is when we work together arranging our songs, I'm always super aware that nothing's stepping on the voice, whether that's a drum beat or a guitar part. So that's the first thing. Be really careful that your guitar part is support for the vocal and not stepping on it or fighting it, because I think that just adds dimension. Even if you're playing, we're a simple straight up rock band, but I really do think that we've got some dimension there. And you can check out the band on www.herojuniormusic.com, and yeah, it is what it is. So are you playing to support the vocal and not stepping on it? That's my number one thing, first of all. And then second of all, because we're a two guitar band, we don't both have to play all the chords. I think since I guess if I had to categorize our band, it would be, if you took like Sabbath and Zeppelin and mixed in a little Nirvana and Soundgarden, and something around there, some kind of 70s rock meets 90s grunge kind of thing. And it's very groove based. I think that, the parts to our songs, when they change, the groove changes too, and we're really conscious of keeping a keeping the groove in a good place with the music and with the songs. So we got two guitar players. So For example, if Evan's going to play, I'll just give you a quick example. So if Evan's going to play an E chord, he might just play. He might just play the octave in the fifth. And if it's a minor chord, I might play up here, which is the top end of the chord. And for those of you that can't see, I'm playing. This is it's like an E minor 9, I guess you'd call it. It works for any E minor variation, and it's just E, G, and D. I love this is one of my, also part of this question was what are your favorite chords, and voicing minors this way is great. So then you've got and when you play them together, that's always done something to me. Since I discovered that voicing, that's been one of my favorite ones. And so on, when it comes to voicing for two guitars, it's for me personally, it's playing as less strings as possible and making two guitars, when they come together, that it really feels like one big chord. And for the most part, when we're playing, even though we always mix our records where Evan guitar is coming out of the left speaker and mine's coming out of the right speaker, it always seems to merge into one big guitar when the rhythm parts are happening. And I think part of the reason is that we're voicing our guitars like that. So those are the two things that I would look out for with chord voicings. My favorite chord voicings, man, I think my all-time favorite chord voicing, especially for cleaner stuff, and it's something that works great with delays. I do a lot of sessions for people where they want something that's, I don't know, I'm a huge David Gilmour fan too, and I think that when it comes to the spacey stuff and the layered guitars, I guess if you mix David Gilmour together with a couple different people, but anyway, I love the spacey stuff. I love using tape delay and having lots of feedback and stuff. So this is a great chord for that. So if you got, especially with delay, it works for everything. But if somebody's playing a straight A chord, well, this is actually a minor. So if someone's just playing your basic minor chord, this one goes great with it. Because when you get and what I'm playing here is open A, and then octave A, C, B, and E. So when you get all of those going open, it really supports your basic minor chord. And this again, since I was like 15 years old, I think I stumbled upon this through some, I don't know, I don't remember, like an Emerson, Lake or Palmer song or something. Oh yeah, it was there's a song called In the Beginning. Couldn't play it for you now, but I think that's the song that I got it from. So they use A minor 7 open, and this is A minor. So we've got this one when you're playing A minor, and then A minor 7, which is also a really cool chord, and that's just A, G, C, B, and E. And like those two chords I'm loving. When you've got delay on those chords and you're playing clean, they've got super great harmonics. If you're doing atmospheric instrumental music, those are killer chords too. Sometimes I do film and TV, and when I'm writing songs that are for sync or in that direction, those are really great chords. And so yeah, you got A minor, like I said. and A minor 7. I think that those are my two favorite chords. Now somebody asked me about voicing them. Okay, oh yeah, so I said in the band I'm paying attention mostly to where I'm playing with the vocal, and then secondly, am I staying out of the way of the rhythm and the rhythm guitarist, so I voice my chords differently. Now when I'm in the studio, it's really great to, for me anyway, I'm really thankful that I play guitar and I produce. That's a really good combination for me, because when I'm doing sessions for other people, I already know that I don't want to put things overlapping, and most of the work that I get is for vibier stuff. It's not stuff where I have to go in and read notes or anything. Um, it's just I barely get charts even. I just get the songs and I put my shit on it, and thankfully it works and people are happy. And so I do the same thing. I mean, I really come from the less is more theory. So building guitar tracks in the studio when I'm working for other people, it's a whole different ball game, because the band is playing 100% live. We record all our albums live, including vocals. The new one we did in the living room, it's going to come out in October, and can't wait to see what people think of that one, because we're all super stoked because we just recorded it live in our living room. So, um, so even it, so in the studio, I mean, it depends on the songs, but even for pop stuff, I mean, the simplest stuff works. Like for example, let's say let's say it's folk. I've done a bunch of indie folk records where it's traditional singer-songwriter stuff, and it comes from a songwriting, influence and background, but there's weirdness to it. So if someone's just playing, say someone's just playing straight, straight G song, I try to find maybe two notes that work over everything. And from those, if you try this, if you've got any kind of home recording studio, just play a G. And I find that stuff like this, where you add an A, is a great, this will work over so many progressions. So if someone's playing like real simple chords, and you've got, and you just let it ring, and that's super dry. But like if you're putting delay on it, or I use EBO a lot of the time, you can put some gain on it. Like even and you don't need to know theory to do this. I mean, you just need to know the basic notes in a couple chords and see which notes can stay the same and which have to change. And sometimes the notes that have to change, wow, this is turning into a guitar lesson. That was a good question. Anyway, if maybe only one note changes on a chord, so if one note changes, just change that note. So say you're doing G, you're playing this G here, which it just makes the G sound bigger when you add the A on the top, and you play less chords. The bass can handle this, the acoustic guitar can handle this. There's no reason that the electric guitar has to do that either. So, and if you change to a C, maybe it works depending on the melody, but you can just move it here, and the notes in C work with that too. So you can just go. I think that Mike Campbell is a great example of a guitar player that really plays less is more by the way he voices chords. It's really cool. how he jangles the chords, and he does that kind of in this way. So I could go on about chords and all that. Maybe we can do a special episode just on chords. But yeah, I think be creative. And again, you don't need to know a whole lot about music theory. You just have to look at your fingers and use your ears. And, if you've got a bass player in your band or on a track that's playing really busy, you don't need to be up there unless it's a if you guys are doing if you're doing a lick and everyone's playing great, then it's cool if sometimes you play the same thing, but for the most part, be aware of what each other's doing and stretch yourself. There's no the great thing about music is there is absolutely no rules, really, no rules involved when you're doing it. So see what you come up with, because from my personal experience, the coolest stuff that I've come up with has been accidents. It's really, I always call it happy accidents, and there's nothing cooler than just jamming and coming up with stuff that's an accident. So be aware of what you're doing. If you've got a home recording setup, I mean, come on, it's the perfect way to test stuff out, and you'll see what's good. Question. Of course you're not crazy, dude. Um, hey, like I always say, and like I said before, everything sounds good for different reasons to different people, whether it's because our biology with our ear construction, our ear canal is different, or what we listen to. So, I mean, I'm a huge vintage sturdy fan, but if you want something warmer, let me think. I mean, I maybe try an EV speaker if you love your amp sound. Like, it can be so many different things. It could also be that if you change the tubes, your vintage 30 speaker might sound different. And again, like I said, I am so not technical, so I'm guessing a little bit. But I think next week or the week after, we're trying to get Anthony Turco back on, and he knows way more about that shit. But I'll keep an eye out on that question, and we'll figure it out too. I think that greenback speakers might be a little bit warmer as well. I think you just got to try. I really do think trying stuff is the most important thing for me personally. I think a lot of people say what they like, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you. I think that is a really, really important thing to take into consideration, that I've got people sending me pedals and gear and they want me to use their stuff, and I play everything because you never know what you're going to find. But I mean, most of the stuff isn't what people say it is. So there's people out there that say this is really warm, this is really edgy, but I've played it and I've gotten a totally different feeling for the gear. So, John, that is a really good question. You're never crazy for not liking things that other people like. I mean, that's how we get good art and we get good creative shit out there. So, I think I'm going to ask Anthony that question. I'm going to write it down so I don't forget. And if you tune in next week, maybe I'll have an answer. Oh, we've got our favorite special guest there.
Hello.
All right. I don't know if this is gonna work or not. You're on a camping trip vacation.
I am. I had to drive into town a little bit
I
to
can't hear
get
you,
some.
dude. You have your
Oh, you
mic
can't?
on?
I do. Let
I
me
can't
double
hear
check
you.
something.
Oh,
Oh, wait, I
dude.
got an idea.
No. Try try me back again. I can't
How
hear you
about
talking. Sorry. All right, we're gonna keep trying that. Blake from the Tone Mob is out camping, and he's such a loyal contributor to our weekly endeavor that he's gonna try. All right, let's see. You there? Can I hear you? Yo.
There we go.
Oh,
How's
dude.
that?
Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Sorry, dude. Maybe it's the connection. Can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, sorry. We'll catch you next week, man.
Okay.
Enjoy the bacon.
All
Look
right.
good.
Later.
See ya. That's Blake from the Tone Mob podcast. He usually comes on and we talk about different fuzz boxes. But if you're into a good music podcast that talks about gear, that speaks with musicians about being a musician, about gear, check him out. It's called the Tone Mob. It's a great. That's weird. I could not hear him. Oh shit. I know why. Yeah, I know. That was my fault. I was recording and I had my output somewhere else. Bummer. Guess I really can't do anything about that now, right? Let's see. Sound. Thanks, guys. See, I told you that I'm not technical. We'll try again because I want to know what Fuzzy's got. Internal speakers. All right. Yep, I love making music, but I suck at the technical stuff. Try again. I love our new free form of broadcasting here. There's absolutely no rules. All right, maybe he'll try again. Anyway, yeah, we were talking about speakers, and I was talking to John. Whatever you like, I think you should try all kinds of stuff. I've used some really shitty stuff that sounds really warm, and I've used some stuff like everybody used to say JBLs are awesome and they sound so clean and they're so good. And man, I've kind of got a heavy-handed touch playing guitar, and I couldn't stand JBLs. So it's no problem going against the grain. Is totally cool. For those of you guys that are just tuning in, I'm Ken Rose. I play guitar with Hero Jr. And now we're gonna. I got you now. I think.
You think that works?
It was me, dude. Technical wizard that I am. It
Nice.
totally was you. Yeah, actually, you can thank John and Jeremy for saying I could hear both of you guys. It's like, really? I was recording yesterday and I had everything going through the Focusrite stuff. So
Gotcha.
And that's not on. Hey man, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. In Chicago today.
Oh, right on.
Got the Porter rig. And where are you? You're camping, right?
I'm camping. I am just outside of Astoria, Oregon.
Oh wow, that's cool. Has anybody taken over the campground yet?
They're starting to, so that's why we're gonna leave. I was like, wow, there's too many people. We gotta go.
Well, you're a true member of the Orange family. Thanks for bringing. Did you bring us a fuzz box that's out in nature?
No, I didn't. I grabbed some other stuff to drop off to a buddy, but they're not fuzzes.
That's cool.
But I did have something I wanted to talk about fuzzes. You know, last week we talked about the DS1, which is not a fuzz, but we went over, you know, some misconceptions that people have when they're trying to use the thing, and that got me thinking about fuzz pedals. And you hear a lot of people say, this is where I was gonna go for this week, since I knew I probably wouldn't have a pedal. What I was thinking is, a lot of people say they don't like fuzz. They like it when other people play it, but not when they themselves play it. And I can understand that, because fuzz is one of the most wide-ranging styles of effect there is, you know? Sure, there's lots of different delay sounds, but, you know, it's a more subtle thing, right? Like a tape versus an analog, it's more about the tone, but it kind of does and responds more or less in the same way. Not exactly. But a fuzz face and a big muff are almost two different effects for being in the same category. And so what I wanted to talk about is, when people say they don't like fuzz when they play it, it's probably because they're trying to play guitar when they actually need to try to play the fuzz. They need to listen to how it's compressing and how it's responding and adjust your playing. Because you listen and watch Gary Clark Jr. play, and he doesn't play like he would if he wasn't playing with a whole bunch of fuzz. He can watch how he pulls off of the notes and different things, and it's really about playing the effect as much as it is the guitar. And I think that was the big tip I wanted to bring this week was, if you think you don't like fuzz, it's probably because you're trying to play like it's an overdrive or play like it's a distortion, and you have to adjust from there, especially depending on what style of fuzz it is.
Yes, that's awesome. And I'm a huge fuzz person, but it's true. I'd never play on a fuzz, especially rhythm, how I would play. It reacts completely differently for all the reasons that you say. The compression, the attack is totally different.
Mm-hmm.
And also, now, God, that's really cool. And now that I think of it, I play different too because when I have dead space on the guitar, it's going to feed back most of the time if
Right.
I've got the fuzz on. So there is definitely something about how you hold on to the notes, and yeah, and then besides that, every fuzz is so different. You're exactly right. Wow, I think that is a great tip, and that's the perfect camping tip.
That's right. For when
That,
you're out in the wilderness playing with a fuzz face, just think about
yeah,
that.
no, it's really true. Right on.
Well, I'm glad to make this happen. I was like, I gotta find reception.
Dude, thanks so much. And for you guys that don't know Blake, check out the Tone Mob podcast. He's all over the place. He's got some. Oh, you just did another really good one too. I haven't heard it yet. Who was your last one?
I just dropped one. I scheduled it to come out today. It should have came out this morning with Mario Miner Jr., who runs Miner Glitch Electronics, and he is hysterical. And we had a really good time on that episode, especially, well, on the Patreon episode, we talked about our youthful hooliganisms and whatnot, and so that was a lot of fun.
And who'd you do after Celise? There was someone in between.
Oh, I had a couple. I had so we did Celise, and I think Ian Fowles from the Aquabats was after that, I believe. I did Tyler Larson from Music Is Win.
You did. Oh, you did. What's his name from? Oh God, I forgot. God, I'm forgetting everything today.
I who I've released and who I've recorded with already are run together in my brain. So I'm like, I can't remember if I've released.
You did JD Simo, right?
I did do JD Simo. He was fantastic.
Yeah, that's the one that I still haven't listened to yet. I'm going to listen to that on my drive home tomorrow.
You're gonna enjoy that one. That guy's dropping some philosophical bombs on that episode. He was amazing, an amazing guest. He was so cool.
Cool. We'll have a great time. Throw some shit on the grill that's vegetarian for me. And
you got it.
Have a good one, brother. See ya.
Take care.
Bye. Yeah, the Tone Mob podcast. All kinds of good shit on there. I'm Ken Rose. I play guitar with Hero Jr. You can check us out. Instagram at Hero Jr. That's HEROJR. www.herojrmusic.com. And if you want to ask me questions that I'll bring onto the show next week, because I'm not sure how easy it is to ask questions on YouTube. Maybe you can. I don't know. But I still have a shitload from last week that I haven't done yet. Today I'm playing not as much as normal, but I'm playing through my Dual Terror. Right now I've got it on the fat channel. I'm playing on half wattage with all the tubes in. I'm using Gibson Custom Shop Les Paul 1960 reissue from last year. It's my number 2 guitar right now. I'm loving it. And for those of you guys that don't know Pariah pickups, these are the T-type pickups, and I cannot speak highly enough about them. They're really killer pickups. So let's put it into fat mode. That's straight in with a custom shop Les Paul Standard Pariah T-type pickups and my trusty little dual terror on the Fat Channel. Oh, another question I got. What was that one? Wait, sorry. Oh yeah, this is a short one, so we don't have so much time, but I can do a short one. You've got really heavy-handed and dynamic style of playing. This one's from Jason R. What kind of picks and strings you're using? So I have been using the same kind of picks forever. I'm using Fender heavy 351 picks. It's too bad they don't make the old. I've bought some old school ones. I think they've changed the material, but it's still, this is a great pick. They don't get thrashed as much, and I just love the way they feel. And then I've also, these are really cool that Fender sent me last year. These are the Rick Nielsen ones. Love these. But my go-to pick, these are the ones I've been using all the time. I do play heavy-handed. I mean, especially like with lead stuff, you know. It's like, but I also sometimes I hold the pick really lightly and I'm not playing so heavy, you know. It's just like, especially if I'm doing like R&B and soul stuff. I almost would drop my pick. Like sometimes I just kind of barely hold it on my finger and sometimes I do play. In the band I play pretty heavy-handed, but it's I've always changed my dynamics more how I hold the pick, actually, now that I think of it, than, like, I, yeah, playing. That's interesting question there. Oh, I don't know. I'm pretty heavy-handed, but anyway, um, yeah, I use 351 picks. I switch strings. I use DNR Pure Blues 11 to 50. Yeah, I mean, both Evan in my band and I switched over last year, and I love those strings. They're really awesome, and they stay in tune right off the get-go. They really don't break a lot. They don't get all grungy either. I mean, I don't know what they do to them, but I put these strings on yesterday. I stretched them, like this twice, and they're done, and they're super even. They stay in great. I really like bending up more than just a whole step, and so yeah, I'm really into these strings right now. So that's the answer to that question. Um, Feel free to write some questions over on Instagram. I check everything a couple times a week, and that's at mywarpedhalo, MYWARPEDHALO. And you can check out our band as well, Hero Junior. I'm Ken Rose, and I've been playing in Hero Junior for God 8 years and over 850 dates that we've played all over the country. We're getting ready to release a new album. I'm a producer and a songwriter, and I play guitar in the studio for other artists. So we can talk about that. I'm really into, helping you guys, especially you guys that are in bands. If I can help you find a way to be more productive with your band, with your songwriting in your band. I did get another really good songwriting question this week. Okay, where is it? But I think I'm going to save that for next week because I can tell that's going to be a long answer. But this one's from Stan W. Best studio and live compressor. Oh man, totally different beasts, I think, at least from what I do as a rock guitarist. So, and this is not because I work with Orange, but I really think that the Compressor is such an underrated pedal board compressor. Okay, I got one here. I haven't played this one in a while on this pedal board, but let me see where it's set up. So, all right. So I'm just going to go blind at it. But I think that on a pedal board, the Compressor, that's my favorite compressor, and I've used a lot of them. And for the money, it's amazing. I think, it's definitely under $200. Here's like a couple notes without it. It's way more even, and for being on a pedal board, okay, I never use a compressor live, never, and I don't even go to tape when I'm recording with the band through a compressor. But On the pedal board for sessions, I love this compressor. It really keeps it even. I'm hammering it right now, and it's still super clear. So I would definitely, for playing live, if you need to use a compressor, that is a shit hot compressor, and I really do recommend that. And I mean, don't take my word for it, just try it out. If you know anything about compressors and you know about portable, compressors that go on your pedal board, this has got some killer features, and I would check it out. They've probably got it at the music store, no problem. Okay, in the studio, that is a whole different story. But if I was going to pick my desert island compressor in the studio, and this is not just for guitar, this is for everything, I think I'd pick an 1176 from Uri, a vintage one if possible. But even the new ones, even the, I use a lot of plugins now because I'm traveling a lot and we're not going into big studios to record the band at the moment. So if I was going to recommend any hardware compressor and you can afford it, I would say the 1176 is by far my favorite compressor for everything. But it's a great guitar compressor, both for electric and acoustic guitars, especially for clean, funky stuff and for dirty stuff. It's versatile. It sounds, I mean, you can't go wrong with that. Now, in the budget range, God, I haven't bought any new compressors. I'm still loving older stuff, but I think you can get a DBX 160X compressor, the old school ones from the 80s. Definitely, okay, I don't want to say for sure, but let me just check. But I think you can get that compressor for under $200, and that is a great all around compressor that works for everything. Vintage DBX 160. 160X. Okay, reverb, 215 bucks. That is a killer compressor, and that's a pretty common compressor that people are using on tour. If you're playing bigger shows, you'll see a lot of 160Xs in the racks. Um, Works great on drums, great on guitar. The question was for guitar. In the plug-in world, I mean, I don't use a shitload of plugins because I'm trying to keep it as unclogged in the digital domain, but I do use a lot of compressors. I think my favorite plug-in 1176 compressor is the one from shit. Again, I forget all of the things that I need to remember. It's called Black. Hang on, I'm gonna find this for you too because this is actually a killer compressor that has replaced all the other ones that I use. Black Rooster Audio. I've been using their compressor plugins for the last year, a little bit more. So they've got a killer 1176 plugin. That's great. And these are things that I've paid for. I'm not endorsing any plugin company. So these are just things. These work as close to or as good as the hardware versions that cost over $2,000 for a compressor. So the I think it's called the FET from Black Rooster Audio. Killer 1176 and more compressors. Got some great features. Their LA2A is the best LA2A that I've ever used as well. It's way better than some of the ones that cost triple as much. And Yeah, that's a really good tip. If you're just used to using Wave plugins or whatever they give you, I'm a Pro Tools user, but Logic has a lot of plugins that come with it. If you're just used to using what comes out with the DAWs that you're using, check out Black Rooster. They've got some really, really, really good plugins. And Plugin Alliance also. I just got a subscription with them because I was looking for some different stuff, and I think I'm paying, I don't know, I'm not paying more than $20 a month. And man, they've got everything from synthesizers to compressors to all kinds of cool little toys. And they've got some great emulations. They've got some really good Neve emulations. So, yeah, for anyone doing home recording, I would highly recommend those two things. And on that note, I think we're out of time here. So, again, I'm Ken Rose. I play guitar with Hero Jr. And every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. UK time, I'm here with Orange Hangs. I got more questions to answer. We got talking about chords and a lot of stuff today, so I'll get back to those. Stay tuned or tune in next week. And yeah, hope you guys are good. Stay safe, and we will see you next week. Later.